Have you ever had that feeling, that really unsettling shift where your own reality just seems to warp a bit, or you catch yourself questioning your sanity, wondering if you're remembering things right, and then maybe that slow dawning thought that someone else might actually be pulling the strings? Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. We're exploring one of the, well, most insidious tactics in dark psychology, gaslighting.
Yeah, when we say dark psychology, we're looking at that whole area of human behavior that involves, manipulation, control, sometimes exploitation.
And gaslighting sits right at the core of that, doesn't it? It's a really potent tool.
It really does. It's striking how subtle yet utterly devastating it can be.
Yeah.
At its heart, it's this systematic effort, really, to make you doubt your own memory, your perception, even your sanity.
All designed to gain power over you.
Exactly. And the name, as many people know, it comes from that 1938 play, Gaslight.
Right. The husband dims the gaslights.
And then denies it. Completely denies it when his wife points it out. It makes her question what she's seeing, what she knows, and eventually, her own mind.
It's such a chilling example. But it's not just fiction, is it? This isn't confined to the stage or old movies.
No, absolutely not. It happens constantly, every single day. You see it in relationships, intimate ones. You see it in workplaces, even within families.
The scale is pretty surprising, too. I saw a study from 2023 that found something like 40% of people felt they'd experienced some kind of emotional manipulation.
And often without realizing what it was at the time. That's key.
Right. So our mission today, really, is to empower you. We want to break down how this mechanic works, give you the tools, maybe, to recognize it, and, importantly, protect yourself.
Okay, so we've sort of set the stage. We know what it is, roughly, and that it's widespread.
But how does it actually start? How does someone begin to, chip away at another person's reality like that? What does it look like day to day?
It almost always starts small, with these subtle seeds of doubt. We're talking tiny lies, maybe, or denials that seem minor on their own.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, imagine your partner snaps at you, raises their voice, and when you mention it later, they completely deny it. I didn't raise my voice. What are you talking about?
Or maybe a boss claiming a meeting never happened, even though you have notes you took during it.
Exactly, those kinds of things. They seem small, these little inconsistencies, but they plant those first seeds of doubt. You start thinking, wait, did I hear that wrong? Did I imagine that meeting?
And it escalates from there, right? It's not just one incident.
No, it weaves this web of confusion over time. It's designed to make you question your own senses, your memory.
And this creates a real internal conflict, doesn't it? There's a term for that struggle.
Absolutely. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. It's your brain struggling to hold two contradictory ideas at once. What you know happened versus what this person, maybe someone you trust, is telling you happened.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It is. And the gaslighter weaponizes that discomfort. They keep pushing their distorted reality again and again, relentlessly, until your brain, just seeking some relief from that chaos, starts to think, maybe their version is right.
Even if it goes against your own memory or senses.
Yes. It's like an internal siege. It's a slow burn designed to gradually erode your confidence through just sheer persistent contradiction.
Okay, so planting doubt, creating that internal battle. What's the ultimate goal for the gaslighter? What are they trying to achieve with all this confusion?
Control. Pure and simple.
Control.
By making you doubt yourself, they lead you down that path of asking those awful questions. Am I overreacting here? Is this actually my fault? Maybe I am the problem.
And they use specific phrases to reinforce that, don't they?
Oh, definitely. Things like, you're being too sensitive, or that never happened, you're imagining things. They turn your own emotions, your reactions, against you.
Which must be incredibly isolating.
It is. That's part of the tactic. It cuts you off from your support network, makes you feel like you can't trust anyone's judgment, maybe even your own. So you end up leaning more on the gaslighter's version of reality because it seems like the only solid thing left.
Wow. And you see this pattern elsewhere, too.
You do. Think about narcissistic partners, certainly, but also some authoritarian leaders, how they manipulate followers by constantly challenging accepted facts and creating their own narrative. A 2024 study actually highlighted how gaslighting thrives in situations where there's an imbalance of power.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When one person holds more sway. It's chilling, though, how that self-doubt can push someone right into the manipulator's control. So what's the emotional toll of all this kind of psychological warfare? It must leave deep marks. What's a long-term impact?
The damage can be really profound and long-lasting. Victims often struggle with anxiety, deep depression, sometimes just a feeling of detachment from everything. They lose trust in their own judgment, fundamentally.
That loss of self-trust sounds devastating.
It is. There was a survey in 2022, I think, that found 60%, a huge number, 60% of gaslighting survivors reported long-term issues with their self-esteem.
Wow.
And the manipulator often keeps the cycle going. They might throw in these fake apologies, insincere ones, or shift blame cleverly. I only did that because you, that kind of thing. It keeps the victim hooked, confused, dependent.
It sounds like psychological warfare, truly,
Yeah.
leaving scars.
It does leave scars, but, and this is important, understanding how it works, recognizing these mechanics, that's the crucial first step toward breaking free. Awareness is key.
Okay, so let's talk about that. For anyone listening who thinks this sounds familiar or wants to guard against it, how do you spot this pattern? How do you catch it before it really takes hold or start untangling it if you're in it?
Right. Awareness is ground zero. You need to look for those repeated denials of facts. Someone insisting something didn't happen when you know it did. That's a big red flag. Pay attention if they consistently blame you for their bad behavior, or if they trivialize your feelings, dismiss them with phrases like, oh, you're just making a big deal out of nothing.
That minimizing tactic.
Exactly. And honestly, trust your gut. If something consistently feels off in your interactions with someone, even if you can't pinpoint exactly why, listen to that feeling. That internal alarm is often your best first defense.
That gut feeling is so vital, especially when someone's trying to warp your reality. Are there practical things someone can do, like actual steps to take to start pushing back or validating their own experience?
Yes, definitely. One really effective tool, which Psychology Today mentioned in an article last year, is keeping a journal.
A journal, how does that help?
You write down the interactions, dates, what was actually said, their words, your words, how you felt, how you reacted. It's not about being obsessive. It's about creating an objective record, something you can look back on.
So it helps you track the patterns and counteracts the memory doubt.
Precisely. It helps you reclaim your narrative and start trusting your own memory again because you have it written down.
Okay, so you recognize the signs, maybe you start journaling. What's next? Pushing back seems like the critical but maybe hardest step. How do you set boundaries when your confidence is already shaken?
It takes enormous courage, no doubt, but setting boundaries is crucial. You need to be clear and firm. It might be saying something like, I remember things differently and I need honesty in this relationship. Or, if this continues, I need to step away from this conversation.
And what about arguing, trying to convince them?
Generally, try to avoid getting drawn into arguments about what did or didn't happen. Gaslighters often thrive on that conflict. They're masters at twisting things. Engaging often just digs you deeper into their manipulation.
So disengage from the argument itself.
Yes. State your reality, set your boundary, but try not to get caught in the loop of trying to prove them wrong. It's usually fruitless and just drains you.
That sounds incredibly difficult to do alone. Is getting outside support important here?
Oh, incredibly important. Crucial, even. The power of external validation cannot be overstated. Hearing someone else say, yes, what you're describing sounds like gaslighting, or no, you're not crazy, is immensely validating.
Where can people find that validation?
Trusted friends, family members who understand, therapists, definitely. Support groups can also be amazing. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, for instance, reports that something like 70% of victims start regaining confidence when they get that external validation.
To 70%?
Right.
Wow. That's powerful. It shows you're not alone.
Absolutely not alone. Reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness.
So for someone who's recognized it, maybe set some boundaries, found some support, what about rebuilding, reconstructing that sense of self, that trust in your own reality that's been so shaken? How does that healing process begin?
It's definitely a journey. It takes time, but it's absolutely possible to reclaim your mind. It starts with consciously, intentionally affirming your own truth.
How do you do that?
Self-care practices are huge. Things like meditation can help calm the inner chaos. Journaling, as we mentioned, continues to be helpful. Therapy is obviously a key resource for many people to process the experience and rebuild that self-trust.
Are there simpler, maybe daily things one can do?
Yes. Daily affirmations can be surprisingly powerful. Simple phrases you repeat to yourself like, my perceptions are valid. Or, my feelings matter. I trust my judgment. It sounds basic, maybe, but it directly counters the negative messages hammered in by the gaslighting.
Kind of rewriting the internal script.
Exactly. And there's real hope in this process. I saw another study from this year, actually, 2024, finding that about half of recovering victims felt significantly more empowered within just 3 months of actively working on recovery.
3 months, that's encouraging.
It shows that starting small, taking those first steps, really does build momentum. Your strength grows over time.
That's a really hopeful note to end on. Imagine that life where your reality feels solid again, truly yours, free from that manipulation, clear, anchored in trusting yourself. Gaslighting is, you called it a dark art earlier, and it feels like that. It's sophisticated psychological warfare. But knowledge, understanding what it is, how it works, like we've talked about today, that really is your shield. It empowers you to see it, name it, and protect your own truth.
Knowledge is power, definitely in this context.
So as we wrap up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. What's one small, concrete step you could take today, maybe right after listening to this? One small step to affirm your truth, to begin rebuilding your reality, stepping out of those shadows of manipulation. Give that some thought, and then maybe take that step.